Yes. I
Green.
apologize for the caps errors from my messages. I was typing quickly.
Refreshing. Yeah, we've been having a lot of internet troubles the last couple of days. I'm surprised it got this bad.
You surprised it got this bad, yeah?
Yep. I'm still having...
It's almost up.
People seem to be acting like we're back.
We're
Yep.
dropping a lot of frames.
We're back.
Okay. Let me see. It's stabilizing.
Okay.
Okay, going to 3
Tell
up.
us when we're ready.
Um,
Find the path says not back.
but we
yet.
should probably wrap this up quickly.
Oh no, really?
Aw, you're having
And-
fun. We're talking about begint characters.
All right. Okay, we're Oh man, this is not super stable.
Oh, there we go. We're up.
Yeah, but I'm seeing the
your
the
bars.
graph. Okay, we're back-ish. So let's make the most of it.
All right. So I do want to let everyone know that I found my character.
Pull it back a bit.
Yay.
You want to pull it back?
Pull it back.
Shutter.
There we
So
go.
you think people that
Oh.
might recognize this miniature
Quit
might know that
moving
this
it.
is actually the Pathfinder, or the Pathfinder Chronicler miniature. But I think I did a pretty good job of sci-fying him up.
Don't move
As
it.
I learned, if you want to make something cool, you just add a skull to it. So he's got a skull face to represent his love of Pharasma. I'll probably take some better pictures posted online because Paint and Deck's got limited paints, so my color palette is not as varied as I would have liked. But I do think I did a pretty good job on that, and I like the Reaper paint intake. If you go to PaizoCon and you don't take the hour or so to just paint a miniature and relax, like it's such a nice reset for your brain and for your energy, and you know what, you get to have just nice, polite conversations. It's almost like being at a table full of Bob Ross's painting miniatures.
Yep. And we all fought over brown.
Did we? I don't think I have any brown on this guy.
Well, that's why.
I totally missed this fight for the brown. No, I went with gray. I never mixed brown and gray on the same miniature.
Yeah, I love the paint and takes. It's super relaxing. It's just like, as my painting skill has improved over the years, I now really, I'm like, I might want to do paint and take and bring my own brush, because those paint and take brushes have been abused from all the crowd that touched them before I did. And
I think I got fresh brushes.
Oh, my brush was like crooked and sideways, and if you just tried to stroke a cheek, it decided to also paint its toenails at the same time.
Ugh. Earlier you mentioned Linda wanting to play Starfinder with me, and I do want to bring up that something I had to do several times at the con was justify my stance on Starfinder. It is not that I dislike Starfinder.
He totally dislikes Starfinder.
That is
Yes.
not the case.
Yes.
It is that I did not, it's not that I looked at Starfinder and said this is not for me. It's that I looked at my schedule and said there's no room for Starfinder. So I haven't taken the time to read the core rulebook because I did not think I would have much time to even play the game. It is just a logistical issue, nothing more than that. And I do want to make that clear because I am, I'm a bit of a public figure, and I don't want people going like, well, I don't want to play Starfinder if Ryan doesn't play it. I don't have time to be a complete Starfinder nerd, and so it's like almost all or nothing for me. But
Right.
I am slowly dipping my toes in the Starfinder techno water, and we will see where we go from here. Because
It
it's
is-
not enough opposition to Starfinder. It is not that.
No, I'll invite you to the next. I mean, we're literally starting one up tomorrow. So in a few weeks, I'll coordinate with Linda. Linda said in a few weeks she's free, so I'll do another game and bring you in.
All right, cool. I do have another Linda anecdote, and I want to get it in just in case we run out of, Param's internet, really. So a couple of years ago, I was playing the special with a boy who had a clay or like a hand ceramic goblin head that his brother had made for him. And he was it was just kind of sitting on the table, and every now and then with the action slowed down, it would become a talk piece, and it was fun. And at the end of the game, he offered it to me. And he said, like, that was kind of the thing. His brother made it for him, and now he wants to give it to me. And I was like, that was super cool, and I took it. And then as I was packing my bag, when I had the smallest suitcase I own, I was like, there is no way this thing is getting home without getting shattered. And so I was just kind of carrying it around with me for the rest of the con, and I came across Linda, and she asked me about it. And so I told her, you know what, somebody passed this goblin to me. It was passed to him from his brother, so I'm going to pass it to you. And next PaizoCon, you pass this goblin head on to somebody else. And she actually forgot it at last year's PaizoCon. So she brought it this year. She told me about it very excitedly on the first time that she saw me, like on the first day. And she told me, like, and I'm like, gonna check, I'm gonna find somebody. And she ended up finding a family whose kids she's run through the like Junior Pathfinder Delves for several years. And so she has seen these kids grow up one weekend at a time for several years. And so she gave it to that family as a group, letting them know that the idea is this is kind of a passing stone. So next year, bring this back, pass it on to somebody else. And I look forward to seeing how this legend continues and hopefully keeping track of who has had this goblin head and who it gets passed on to and why. And that is a real PaizoCon anecdote to me, because that is something where it's like it is a small enough group of people that you can keep track of this weird little thing that got started very naturally, and that, you know, it just makes people happy.
Yeah, it's like your T-shirt next year when we stab you.
Yes, it is like my T-shirt when I get stabbed day after day.
That will make people happy.
No, people like me. Very charming.
Well, okay, it'll make me happy.
Well, I don't know what that says about you.
It says I'm a native New Yorker, that's all.
And see, this is why Brian has a hard time understanding. He's Canadian.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
We stab each other far less.
Mm.
I got to play in the adventure card game. It's not a second edition. It's like a revision of the rules. And actually, in our live episode, we talked with Mike Selinker a lot about the adventure card game. So I guess I don't really need to go into that now, because that gets a lot of air in that episode. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? I ran like 4 seminars this weekend, which was not something I have done. No, I have never run a seminar other than a No Direction Live at PaizoCon before. So that was a lot of fun, and people are going to hear those as we come out. I'm just kind of burning from one thing to another, guys, because I don't know how much time we have left in this episode, and there's so much I still want to say. So interrupt me anytime. Mm-hmm. But the first seminar I ran was No Prep GMing, which was kind of a combination of just running a game, but also running a seminar, because I ran a game with very little preparation, and I ran it for a live audience. And that's actually going up tomorrow. And so I didn't know the characters, because I asked the audience to bring characters. It ends up people that go to a seminar about not being prepared do not come with the characters you tell them to. So I had to rush off to the Pathfinder Society room, grab the binder of characters, get a special allowance from Tanya to let it leave the Pathfinder Society room, brought it so that we had enough characters to play. We had 4 or 5 players, including like a 10-year-old girl who told me that this was her first time playing Pathfinder. And I was like, I don't use the word unique lightly, but this is a unique first experience, and I think that this is going to be fairly memorable. And I believe it was. In fact, she and I caught up every now and then over the weekend. At one point, she told me it was funny that the hotel was so fancy, but it was full of nerds. I thought that was a fun observation.
Oh, it's a nice hotel. Too many nerds.
Not too many. Just like, boy, isn't it weird? It's fancy and there's nerds. Those two things don't go together.
Oh, it's not nice. I ran 2 talks. We did one. It was me and John Statz. And he worked at Blizzard for 11 years and developed over 20 dungeons for World of Warcraft. So we did a panel on how role-playing games influenced World of Warcraft. And we talked a lot about how dungeon design was pretty much, and even character design was influenced by D&D and role-playing in general. Mm-hmm. And then we had another panel that Param hosted where we had myself and the Roll for Combat guys in the Order of the Amber Die, and Param freaking knocked it out of the park. That was such a good interview. The Order guys talked to me afterwards because they've done a lot of interviews, and they said that, Param, you asked a lot of questions that they never heard before, and they had to really think through. It was really, really good, Param. I really appreciate you doing that for us. It was excellent.
Well, I'm proud of you, Param. It was super surprising. Like, your characters, I'm used to what they're like because I've been listening to the podcast. But the Order guys, they never record their stuff. We see lots of pictures, we hear lots of field reports, but we never hear them. And then, like, the game starts, and then they snap into, like, these perfect character accents, and it's like, what in the world? Where did this come from? Valros, as soon as the thing starts, he just sits back, he reaches down, he pulls up a stein and cracks a beer into it. And, like, dude, bro, Valros just, like, jumps onto the screams. And Hayata, the samurai, was like the best samurai accent I've ever seen pulled out of a role-playing game. And I forget the iconic Evil Inquisitor because she's not a character they use a lot. But
Diana or something?
yeah,
Something like
she was like like this Russian accent and just got super into the character and was talking and basically had a back-to-back with Bob. What's it? I forget the character name.
Rusty Carter. Yeah.
Rusty, about like whether or not the horrific amount of pain that was being done to Rusty the whole time, whether or not Rusty was enjoying it.
It was, yeah, that's actually the very first time they've ever been recorded. They've never done any recordings, and it was stunning. I mean, I've done 41 years of role playing. I have never seen anything like that. They were like actors, like professional actors.
Yeah.
They were amazing. They were so dedicated. Their accents were completely different. They were into their characters. They were acting like their characters. They did not drop the whole time. I mean, wow, it was scary, impressive. To say the least.
There's a bit at the end that I don't want to spoil it too much, but when Valros instantly switches from Dude Bro Al Valros to Trailer Park Valros.
That was the best part. That was all made up too. Right. There's basically I ran a Starfinder Pathfinder. They don't know the rules. So Order just never played Starfinder. They obviously and they play the Iconics. So we did this thing where I had the Starfinder guys, our Roll for Combat guys, play and then sort of do, we called it Absalon World, where they run into the Pathfinder Iconics and then they have to work together to get to the end of the adventure. And it was a very loose adventure in the sense that I wrote a lot of intro and I gave them a lot of leeway on how to role play it. And as I figured what would happen is that the first encounter, they were a little like kind of feeling each other out. The second encounter, they got into their own because there was some combat. And the third encounter is all role playing. And by the time they got to the third encounter, these guys were just, they were full in character. They understood. There was even little teams being made between the two groups. And it was just getting absolutely insane. It was very good. It was much better than I thought it would be. And yeah, I hope to do that again, especially with those guys. They were incredible.
So if people want to hear it, here's the bad news. This is one of the last ones since it was a Sunday afternoon recording, and I'm releasing these in the order they're recorded. So it's coming out July 5th. It is the 46th of 49 seminars.
Now, Roll for Combat, you guys already have your copy of it up, right?
Yes. I mean, I don't want to steal the thunder. It's a little different because I only put up the adventure part. I didn't put up the interview part because people didn't want to hear it. So, yeah, you can listen to it on ours, but, you know, the interview is also part of it, and I didn't put that up. So if you really can't wait, you can go to rollforcombat.com and just download it. It went up Monday. And also Jason did a Talking PaizoCon column where he gives out his experience at PaizoCon. That was his first PaizoCon. He writes a column every week for us about every episode of Roll for Combat and every Pathfinder Society, and you can get that too. But yeah, I would also. I mean, I listen to every No Direction. I'll listen to this too, even though I was in it. I'm going to listen to it. So.
Well, the other one you mentioned, the How RPGs Influence World of Warcraft. That is our 21st recording, so that's going to be out June 19th. A couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah,
I like
especially if you like World of Warcraft, you will really like that talk.
I like how organized Ryan is
I just like
on
the
this.
history of RPGs in general. Like, I think that's going to be a panel I'm going to really enjoy. Go ahead, Barb.
I was like, I really like how organized Ryan's able to say, that's the 21st one, that's going to come out there. And when it's Gen Con and it's me, it's just like, I feel like doing these two today. So that's the ones you get. Next two, if you guys are any requests, let me know. I might do it.
Actually, since you bring up requests, one thing that's not on our release schedule is No Direction Live is. The Adventurous episode is not, because I'm just releasing the Adventures, just like you said, Stephen. But there is more content that was recorded in that seminar besides just the Adventures. We had a nice little chat up front, kind of like the history of how the thing launched. And then there was this, between the two episodes we recorded, we had just riffing with the audience, and they were actually asking some interesting questions. So if people want that audio released, I can add it to the schedule. I kind of want to, just so that there are 50 episodes released instead of 49.
I want to know, because I think everyone wants to know, because it's really hard to put. I mean, it's really, really hard to get together these adventure paths, and then to record them. It's a whole level of nightmare, and then to get them out, as I'm sure you guys are well aware. So I'm very curious to hear your process as well, and then how this came about, because you're doing this with Roll20, and then you got Paizo in there. Like, you got a lot of moving parts on your adventures. So I'd love to hear how that was put together, to be honest.
So a little spoiler is that it all just kind of fell in my lap.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Literally, Karam and I were like, we should run an actual play podcast, and it should be War for the Crown. And then Roll20 emails us like, hey, have you guys ever thought of running War for the Crown on Roll20? And it's like, yes,
really?
Yes, we have. And then Crystal posts on Twitter like, I would love to run War for the Crown as an actual play podcast. And we're just like, all right, take all these elements, something that should have taken us months of planning, just like fast tracked.
So now we don't need to listen to it because you just ruined it all. Thank you.
I know. Well, that's always been. I will always give something away for free instead of making people earn it. That has always been the major problem with monetizing this podcast.
That's why you hired me, isn't it?
Giving.
How are you guys enjoying that, out of curiosity, now that you are on the other end of an adventure path online, no less?
I love it.
Oh my gosh!
So I quit my regular game group to make sure I had time for Adventurous.
Wow.
And I do not regret it at all. It's an amazing group of people. I love playing with Param. I've only played with him once or twice before, and like Param brings a lot of fun energy with him. And just like the combination of players, because like that was the other thing. I knew every individual player except for Lauren, is the only person I hadn't played with in any way. I knew that in some circumstances they could be amazing people to play with, but as a single group I had no idea how we were going to mesh together. But like we're still like, we butt into each other and talk over each other a little bit, but not that much. We all seem to know when it's our turn to come in. We all have different personalities. We all have a different way of being funny and entertaining. Like Ari is playing the funniest straight man I've ever heard in a game. She's the one playing the paladin, and it's like, it is a treat whenever she is just saying something super earnestly, throwing in a little apology, taking something sarcastic as a sincere compliment. Kathy's always great. Kathy's great at moving the plot along. Kathy is just somebody that will play a character she gets very much into that character, and she will make decisions that are to the detriment of that character for the sake of staying in character, and I always respect that. And Lauren really surprised me, because she's really funny, but it's like she's playing a very creepy character, but it's just under the surface that everything she says and does is kind of creepy, because right on the surface is just like the sweetest character. She's just here to, give everyone pastries, make sure everyone's doing okay. And yeah, it's unfortunate that her husband was poisoned to death, but what can she do about it? And it's like, wait, what was the last part?
Oh, well, we're gonna be playing with her tomorrow, so yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
She's a treat. Yeah. And the part where she had to be talked down from mass murder that she all too quickly said she was on board for, without even knowing why.
Well, it sounds like you guys are getting the actual play down. If you guys are trying to kill each other and
not each other, no, just everybody else at the party.
Okay.
No, the fact is,
you're not there yet.
Like, everybody else, I think, is like actually playing a good aligned character that's trying to work together. But Lauren might be a serial killer.
Yeah. Alignments are suggested. They're not, just unless you're a paladin, that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I was telling Param on the episodes that we recorded live, I realized that I'm the voice of reason in the group, and I am like an extremely arrogant, just like a pretty boy bard who thinks he's just the coolest, funniest guy in the world. And then when we're walking through a dungeon full of dangers. I'm the only one that's like, we shouldn't be doing these dangerous things. What do you think you are doing? Why have you done that? You have hurt yourself. You have hurt me. This is all your fault, and I'm not happy with you, but please just don't do it again. And it's like, that is not what I was expecting from this character.
No. Honestly, that's what I've tried to set my character up to be, but it just has not worked out beautifully in all the right ways. But you just want to keep me from being beautiful, Ryan. Just admit it.
I cannot be beautiful, but to suggest that you are nearly as beautiful as me is stupidity.
How did the live stream go? I mean, that seemed pretty gutsy to do a live stream at PaizoCon.
Oh, well, I know
so
that.
Are you talking on a technical or just
both?
Yeah.
Well, leading up to it, it was a exercise in disasters that ultimately tumbled downstairs into a perfect 3-point pirouette. When we hit the landing, it stuck because all the crazy tech that, like, there was a communications breakdown, like, I'll care to admit, where I wasn't quite on board with, not on board, but I was not quite tuned in with everything Ryan had intended. And then so when it all mashed, it was like, oh, wait, you really mean this? Wait, we're going to do this? Oh, I wasn't prepped for that. Oh, I need equipment I don't have. We might have to take an Uber to Best Buy. But in the end, everything came together. And then Ben Loams from Sirenscape, he jumped in to guest DJ for us with Sirenscape to do live sound effects for the whole for Adventurous. And he's also one of the sponsors of Adventurous. He gave us our he did custom intro music for us for it, and he's letting us use Sirenscape for the sound effects throughout the show. And it was really nice to have him there live DJing. And so, like, literally 10 minutes before it started, me and him were like, okay, so how are we going to do this? I'm going to hook this up to that. No, let's hook this up to that and hook that up to this. And then 4 laptops just, like, simultaneously duct tape and chewing gum together until, like, it all just, at go time, perfect.
Yeah, well, that's how it works. It's like, it's total chaos until it goes live, and then, ta-da, it all works somehow.
Yeah, I think because a couple of years ago we did a live no direction recording where everyone on the staff at the time was there except for Param, so he Skyped in and we had him projecting, and it's like, that went super smooth from my point of view. So let's just do that again, except now Param's going to be live in the audience and controlling while also playing a game. We've got 3 of our players are Skyping in, and like we're all going to be crunched together. We throw in Ben Looms and live Sirenscape, and it was like, oh, this is going to be complicated for you, isn't it, Param?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Yes, it was.
Glad I didn't make that clear that we were doing it like that before you showed up.
Right. But it was really great. And it was 2 great episodes, too. We got attacked by a murderous hairpiece that I invited in. And I gave Ryan some permanent scars that he's never going to forgive me for. And like,
to conceal them.
War for the Crown is amazing, and then getting to like be there with Crystal in person while she's GMing us, it was a treat. And every time we boot up Adventurous to start playing, I'm like, why on earth I do not deserve to get to be playing a game of this caliber with this many talented people.
Yeah, shut up. Yes, you do.
So wait, do you guys mentioned the banquet and then the trivia contest, because I was in the trivia contest last year, and I won't get into it because we won, and then they changed the rules, and then we ended up not winning, and it was a bit controversial because they actually even took our prize away from us. That's how controversial it was. Yeah, like, but I didn't do it this year, but I heard it was really hard this year.
Really hard, eh?
Well, because you had Starfinder and Pathfinder.
And the card game.
Yeah, and the card game in there.
Yeah. So, tradition, like, I've done this 3 or 4 years in a row now, and my team always starts strong because the first one is about Paizo staff, the first round.
Right.
And we got that.
I know Paizo staff. And so, like, we usually get 4 or 5 points of the 5 points you can get in the first round, and we're usually contenders right at the beginning, and it's great, and it's strong, and we start, like, making jokes. I've been on the same team as Justin Riddler for a couple of years now, and that always makes me feel good. He actually ran one of the trivias one year, and he even said, it was when he was interning at PaizoCon, at Paizo, and he said, like, I am sure I only got this job because Eric Mona wanted a trivia contest run by the Riddler. But yeah, him and his either boyfriend or husband, I'm not sure. I think husband, Ryan, have been on my team for several years now. Sean joins me several times, has joined the last couple of years. So it's like we've had a pretty tight team. Param joined in this year, and he was a fun and educated addition to the team. So we really felt like we were going to win. Plus, they implemented a rule that if you'd won the previous year, no more than 3 members of that winning team from last year could be on the same team. And it's been basically the same team winning for the last several years. So breaking up the winners meant that we had even more of a chance to win. So yeah, first round came and went. The what were we in the first round, Param? The feet of the 10?
Yeah, toes of the 10.
Toes of the 10, that's
Yeah.
right. Actually, I think Justin's got it written up on his page. I'm going to cue that up. What were your experiences playing trivia for the first time?
Well, it was really great, especially to see a pool of knowledge of, like, the amount of nerdity involved in that trivia contest was insane. The questions were insane, and the fact that we had most of the answers was wonderful. And, like, me and you, we think we're pretty high up there on the Pathfinder nerdity tier. No. I mean, we brought stuff to the table nobody else had, but man, some of the Pathfinder lore reach that they had was amazing. And just to see, and like, this year we did great. We were only 1 point away from winning. We were tied in third, 1 point away from first.
Yeah, and then fourth round kills us every year. It is the lore round. For whatever reason, none of us are good with the in-world history or geography, like the combination of things that you need to be good at. None of us have that, and that's if that's your thing. Let us know if you're at PaizoCon next year, because we need to fill that gap.
And then they threw in Starfinder lore, like stuff from Pact Worlds. That book has only been out for a month, and it was like, whoa.
My favorite thing, though, was that as we were putting our team together, Justin says, hey, there's those 2 kids are the mascot on the front of the book. I bet they're going to ask us their names. So we very quickly looked at their names. It's like, okay, Corin and Kiku. Corin. I know a guy named Corey. I will just remember Corin. We will get one of these 2 if they ask us. And, like, one of the last questions in the last rounds was, hey, we've got these 2 mascots. Name them. And you can hear just kind of like this frustrated grumble from the rest of the teams, and Justin just being like, oh! By the way, I have our list of names. So we started as the toes of the 10. Then we became the squids of the 10 because there was a running joke about squids going around the room. Pineapples of the 10 because there were alcoholic pineapples being served, and the people that were supposed to be basically the chaperones to make sure we weren't using our cell phones or anything, they were eating a lot of these alcoholic pineapples, and it was showing.
Eating? No, they were shoveling them down their throats as quickly as possible.
So then we were more than meets the eyes of the 10, and that was unfortunately the round that cost us the whole game. But we had a nice comeback. We nearly won the whole thing in the last round when we were the eyes of the comp 10. Anyway, so the trivia seems to be a thing that only a few people are interested in, because it seems like it's the same 50 or so people that are playing every year. But man, I look forward to the trivia contest more than most things that I do at PaizoCon. And even if every PaizoCon has a different goal for me, and I run and I like show up and do a PaizoCon differently every year, the trivia contest is an absolute must. I just enjoy playing with those guys so much, and enjoy just the wackiness of like the challenge of the good answers. The challenge of getting the answers right, but also the fun of getting the answers wrong. Oh, the answer you were alluding to, Param, where one of them was like, here's this weird alien from one of the Starfinder books. Name it. And our answer was just like, Starfinder names. It's just a series of syllables with no like real world origin. How are you supposed to know this stuff? It is the No-Nostradamus. And Thirsty was sitting at the other table, and he really liked the No-Nostradamus, and he insists that is canon now. But unfortunately, we did not get the point.
But when the No-Nostradamus shows up, you now knows where it came from.
Yeah, I played it last year by accident because I was just sitting around and like, oh, trivia contest is starting, and then all these people sat down around me, and I'm like, I guess I'm on your team now. And then it was a fantastic team. because, as you said, like I didn't really know a lot of answers, but I knew what I knew because some of the questions were about adventure paths, and since that's all I do, I was like, okay, I knew those answers. And then some of them were on the horror handbook, the horror book that came out, the hardcover. At that time, I just read it, and I knew those answers. So I felt like, wow, I actually contributed and got like 4 answers right that no one else seemed to know. So we actually had a really, really good team. But then we were sort of disqualified because we bribed Thirsty. So that's another story, but whatever.
Oh, is that why you lost your prize?
Yes, that's when we lost the prize. So still a little upset about that. They didn't seem to find it a problem at the time. They seemed to not like it after we won. And then they gave us a tiebreaker that we lost. Oh, well.
Oh, man, the tiebreakers are legendarily difficult.
It was insanely hard. It had something to do with, like, it was like the Rune Lords and, like, naming their swords or so. It was really...
yeah, that was it. Name the Rune Lords and the name of their weapon.
Yes, that's what it was. And we're like, oh, you kidding? I think we got, like, 2 of them. It's so hard. It's the other team got, like, 5. I was like, how the hell do you know all that? It's unbelievable. Actually, what did you guys think? There's one thing everyone that we were stunned about is that PaizoCon is one of the only cons I've ever been to where they actually serve alcohol while you play Pathfinder, which did make for interesting adventures at some of the places.
I strongly support this development.
Not really. Yeah,
I'm not a drinker. I didn't even realize that that's not something you do at a lot of conventions, so I did not notice.
The only reason I noticed it is because at our table, especially for the special, that a lot of people got. I'll put it this way: I mean, I wasn't drinking, but I don't think anyone actually ever remembered what happened. By the end, it was all just yelling and screaming and rolling a lot of dice. And our GM was actually one of the fans of the Roll for Combat. I felt very bad for him, although. The best part about it was I had to literally beg Jason Keeley to play with us because he's never played one. And then by the end, he was on the table screaming because he killed a white dragon with a sling, which is impossible. I know. And it was at distance, no less. It was at one range increment. So he was jumping up and down by the end. So he was the most animated of all of us. Mm-hmm. And then half the table doesn't even remember the adventure the next day. So it was. It's interesting. It's definitely an interesting mix.
If it happens again next year, I will demand breathalyzer test for anybody that tries to play Bone Keep with me. They need to be at their full faculties before we try that nonsense.
Is Bone Keep done? I haven't heard.
I guess it is done.
Bone Keep in years. Yeah, there was just the 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I did the 3rd. I played the first one and enjoyed it quite a bit. The second one felt more like it was just mean traps, like they weren't fun, and that spoiled the whole thing on me. We ended up leaving all of us alive, but we just didn't enjoy the experience. And I don't know if Bone Keep 3 repaired its reputation, but
Did you play Bone Keep at PaizoCon?
No, at Gen Con.
At Gen Con, but you don't drink at Gen Con.
Is there drinking involved in Bone Keep?
I'm asking Param because he said he wanted to make sure that people weren't drunk when they were doing Bone Keep.
You have now explored the limits of the joke.
I thought we were being serious because there was a lot of drinking at a lot of the games I was playing, and they were making some really bad decisions. And the last thing I would want to do is play Tournament D&D or Bone Keep with anyone who's drinking because we would all die. Although I had not 1, but 2 TPKs at PaizoCon.
Oh, gosh.
Really?
Yes.
On what side of the screen?
I was a player both times.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a dangerous person for me to be playing 2E with on Friday. I knew your reputation.
No, it was Legendary Planet, and that is a very hard adventure to begin with. I wasn't supposed to play it. I just showed up and was talking to a friend, and they had a free slot. So like, oh, you want to play? So I'm like, I jumped in, and it's the one where you wake up naked on a spaceship, and that's it. And then you got to go from there. And then you're fighting guys with 2-handed like great swords and armor, and you all have nothing on you. So it's a really hard adventure, and we didn't make it. And then I played the next one where we were level 14 with mythic levels, and we fought an 18th level demon with at will insanity. So that pretty much ruins your game because it's like, oh, you're insane. What do you do this turn? Nothing. Next. So yeah, and then we all died. So it was pretty quick. It was actually one combat was the entire play session, and then we all died. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's
why I don't like
to feel like playing that day.
I know. This is why I don't like to be a player, because it's like you just sit there waiting until you die. As a GM, you get to kill everyone. It's way more satisfying. So.
All right. There's still other things we could talk about, but I think we've got to a good point to wrap things up. Before we go, we should shout out to a couple of things. First of all, Roll for Combat. Stephen, once again, tell us how to find out more about Roll for Combat.
Sure. You can go to rollforcombat.com and you can see our podcast there. You can subscribe to it. In addition, we have blog entries there. Jason writes a column every week about each adventure that we go on. Right now we're doing the Dead Sons adventure path, and we're up to episode 37. We're almost done with book 2. We go a little bit slower than some other podcasts that are also doing Dead Sons because we're very tactical, and we play almost 100% rules as written. And we also are mixing in Starfinder Society adventure paths in there. And also, if you go to our Discord channel, which is just discord.rollforcombat.com, we have a very active community, and we actually play a lot of Starfinder play-by-post games on there, and that is really popular. So if you're ever interested in doing some play-by-post, we have a very vibrant community there as well.
Excellent. We've been talking about the PaizoCon release schedule, but if people want to follow it along, we have a single page that we are populating with links to all of the individual seminars, because there will be 50 of them. It's nodirectionpodcast.com/conrecording/PaizoCon-2018, or if you go to PaizoCon.com, nodirectionpodcast.com, and you click on the Con Recordings tab at the top, PaizoCon 2018 is the top one in the drop-down menu. You click on that, and it shows you the latest ones that I have taken the time to link to, so probably by tomorrow morning you will also have links to No Prep GMing, and Secrets of the Pact Worlds.
Right. And that link is also really good if you want to listen to any con recording or seminar in the past 9 to 10 years.
So, hold on. The drop menu's on the last 3. Let me see what happens if I just click on con recordings itself. They're all there, Param.
Yep.
Oh, that's a lot cleaner, because then you don't have to have a drop menu with 1,000 different things, because yeah, we've got recordings from multiple PaizoCons. Wow, it doesn't go as far back as it actually does, though. I should dig up those PaizoCon 2010 seminars when I have time, because they exist. I know they exist. I have them on my computer right now. It'd kind of be fun to go back and just see what they thought the future was going to be like in 2010.
Those are fun recordings, especially the old Gen Con ones, because that's when you can get things like Eric Mona and Lisa Stevens saying, like, oh, yeah, we'll make a PF2 in 11 years. And it turns out that's exactly when it's coming out.
They knew what they were doing.
They planned it all along, everyone. It's been a long con.
It has been a long con. I want to give a shout out to Design Finder. This is something that we kind of were talking to some of the people that are running it. We were talking to them at PaizoCon. So Design Finder is essentially it is replacing RPG Superstar, but it is not. It's not related to Paizo, but a lot of third-party publishers of Pathfinder and Starfinder content have gotten together with a lot of former contestants and even winners of RPG Superstar. They'll be bringing them in as judges, and it's effectively an RPG Superstar. So it's multiple rounds. You've got the blind entry, which is a wondrous item, and the rules are all at designfinder.opengamingnetwork.com. But essentially, if you ever had dreams of entering RPG Superstar, and unfortunately that is no longer, well, it's on indefinite hiatus from Paizo. We'll see if they need PaizoCon 2nd edition designers in a couple of years. But yeah, if you were just ever interested in the contest, you're ever interested in making your name as a designer, you can check out Design Finder. It's mainly being run by the Open Gaming Network. And yeah, check it out. A lot of our friends or judges are involved in the competition in some way. It's a lot of people that I respect their reputation and would stake my reputation on this being a legitimate and well-organized thing. I'm losing my words, Param. competition. There we go. A well-organized competition.
I also want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters. It's only due to your continuous effort that shows like this are able to happen, and the expansion to the network was able to go forward with fun new shows like No Direction Adventurous. We appreciate every single thing you can do to support us, and if you're interested, you can go to NoDirectionPodcast.com and click on the Patreon link to subscribe. We've got some great rewards for backers, including some inside information, our unconditioned cards, and even you can even at the top tier get some one-on-one time with one of the No Direction crew.
Actually, speaking of the
Unconditioned cards?
The unconditioned cards. So the original plan was for Al Cooper, my friend, and the person who did my kids' books with me. He was going to be the artist, but unfortunately, his family is kind of anyway, they've been going through some things. He doesn't quite have the same time that we thought he would have. And so I am working on a replacement, so expect to see an announcement for that on the Patreon some point this week, I believe.
Right. We're looking very forward to the unconditioned cards and the terrible things that the artist will depict happening to your favorite show members.
No, I'm going to be wearing red dragon armor and looking awesome. What are you talking about terrible things happening to us? Did you want terrible things? What is with you wanting terrible things to happen to me, Param?
He's a GM.
I thought we talked about this.
Param, do you need to shout out to Gen Con volunteers?
Yeah, we do have a couple coming in, but we have yet to have the sidekick, and we can always use more help. We still need more help, or it's not going to work. But if you want to help future con recordings and make sure that our Gen Con coverage is just as awesome as our PaizoCon coverage, you can volunteer to be part of the No Direction Con team, because we con when you can't. We need people to basically babysit recorders and make sure nothing happens to them, start and stop them between some recordings, and make sure they have fresh batteries, so that, not one person is glued to that chair for the entire Gen Con, and everybody has time to go have fun and games and use the restroom and eat food, which is all things. We're having some specific difficulties right now because as of yesterday, there was still no posting of the actual schedule of seminars, which is making life hard for us. But if you can just contact me if you're interested in what times you're going to have free, or if you think you're going to have a significant amount of Gen Con free, we will, if you become the sidekick and basically go above and beyond on seminar recording, we will buy your Gen Con ticket for you.
Thank you once again for joining us, Steve. Anything else you want to shout out to?
No, just look for an episode of Ryan and Linda and maybe Param in the near future playing some Starfinder Society.
I feel on the hook.
That's right.
I mean, that's something that I'm looking forward to. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but it is something I do want to happen because it sounds super cool.
Oh, don't worry. We'll make it memorable. I mean, you don't mind if you die, right?
Shudder? My first Starfinder character? I don't want him to die.
You can
Can
make
he even die? He's a robot.
Yeah.
He
Well,
can
that's
so
right.
die.
Just with that.
Really, really die.
Don't worry. You can just make his brother like Shudder 2, Electric Boogaloo. I don't know. That's what we do. Whenever we kill off the characters, we just have the brother, the lost twin sister, show up and just keep going from there.
He can be his cousin
There's
F-Stop.
a lot of brothers just wandering around these campaign settings.
Yeah, well, in Starfinder Society and in Pathfinder, yeah, because they die fast.
All right, well, thank you once again for joining us for another episode of No Direction. I'm Ryan Costello.
I'm Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param.
And if you want to find the path, you need no direction.